Money Monday, presented by Oklahoma Central Credit Union.
From how to best build your credit after graduating college to help with filing your taxes, it's Money Monday. Our financial expert Paul Hood is here to help us make better decisions when it comes to our finances. And Paul, of course, many college students don't start off with great credit. Of course, that's something that needs to be built over time. What is the best way for a recent graduate to build a good credit score?
Well, this is a tough one to, because it's kind of a slippery slope, Brian. Fortunately or unfortunately, debt is what builds your credit. So get a credit card. Make sure you pay it off every month. Buy a car. But make sure you make good financial decisions, not just because here's the deal, Brian. If you're not going to borrow money, who cares about your credit? So if you live a cash life and can pay cash for a car and pay cash for things, you don't care about credit. But most people can't, especially college graduates. So get a credit card. They've got credit cards out now that you have to put like my youngest son, he had to put $250 in a credit card, and then they let him charge on that, the $250, and after a few months they went ahead and increased his credit. So, the credit card, buying the car and all that's just make sure you make financial decisions, not just things to increase your credit.
All right, good advice. Well, from recent college grads, those looking for something to do in retirement, many will look to pick up a part-time job. What is your advice for retirees? Should they look for a job post-retirement?
So at one point in time, I saw a statistic, Brian, that said the average man dies 5 years after retiring. That's kind of sobering. So my thing is you should always have a purpose. A person should have a purpose. And really, not to get spiritual, but in Hebrew, work means worship. And so I have a business coach, and he kind of jokingly says you're sacrilegious if you quit working, if you retire. So retirement's a bad thing. But we all know retirement is great. It's being able to buy back your time. But it doesn't mean you have to sit on the front porch. Be out and be engaged, and do things. Get into real estate. Work at a grocery store. But when you work because you want to, it's a lot more fulfilling. You're going because you want to, not because you need to. So I think it's a great idea for retirees to work in retirement, to do something. If not, volunteer. Go to a shelter or something and volunteer at a school. To stay engaged and be out there.
I can't wait to sit on my front porch.
And just rock. Get in that rocking chair.
We have a viewer question. It comes in from Joe. Joe lives in Texas. He opened his home and garage as an Airbnb, makes $700 a month. He'll get a 1099, as you know, Paul, at the end of the year. What can he do to write off to save on his taxes a bit?
So anything, Brian, anything that remotely relates to the production of that income is deductible. The IRS says, is it reasonable, is it necessary? So he's going to be able to allocate a percentage of his common expenses, his utilities, his mortgage interest, if he has any insurance, depreciation on the home. If he has mileage, if he can establish a home office, then everywhere he goes for that Airbnb will be deductible. Going to the bank, doing advertising, if he uses a cell phone. So anything that remotely relates to the production of that income, we want to do. Don't spend money to save taxes, but look for what he's already spending, and he can take quite a few deductions.
All right, good stuff today. Good to see you. And if you have a financial question you'd like for us to chat about next week, you can send in your question right now to moneymonday@griffin.news.